Yeah, so let me take you to the Chronicle this morning. The big story talks about the MPP parliamentary race and says Educhum takes the crown, receives overwhelming endorsement from delegates of the party. There's a beautiful photograph here of the minister and his hand being raised in the process. Also, we are told this morning that Central Region chiefs endorse Lithium project. And the IMF second tranche release stalled projects to take off, according to John Kuma. And police military averted bloodbath in Boku.
Okay.
All right. The Daily Graphic also has the IMF story, and they have a picture of Stefan Roudet, who's the IMF mission chief to Ghana. They also have the Central Region story. The House of Chiefs has endorsed the lithium mining agreements. The other unique stories they have: time for moral vision to propel nation. That's according to Apostle Nyamiche. Dan Boche is advocating global thinking, local action must blend to spread development. And GGCL PPAG commits to push youth agenda. And the back page
of the graphic.
Ghana in do or die clash with Mozambique.
Okay, let me take you to the Ghanaian publisher. The big story says government okays new DVLA office at Boshe. Boshe.
All right.
Okay. Also, Jinapo, Apenyo, Lydia, Boama, 29 others going unopposed.
Okay.
Again, Queen Mothers endorse female running mates.
Okay.
So the campaign is
This
on.
thing is gaining momentum.
Yeah. And then
momentum.
our candidate may be an somebody.
All right.
An idiot. But we will never vote for your idiot.
Oh.
Somebody is writing something.
Anyway, the Daily Guide also has the education minister on the front page, the IMF, the unique stories. Baumia opens Wungu Fire Service Academy. And new railway engines land February. There's a picture there.
Okay. The Inquisitor.
The Inquisitor says this morning, not today or tomorrow. Kokotako Ken is not moving. Also, we are... What is Kokotako?
It's like a nickname for somebody called Yalminu.
Oh, okay.
So he's not going anywhere.
Also, something here that says Bust marks 30th anniversary with church service, and then Kokobo trial witness threats state witnesses. Witnesses claim. I mean, the claim that the state witnesses are making, and then something here about Ken and the fight with Ken. What do you call it? Boache. What's the name?
No,
Boache.
So it's Ken versus.
Yeah. All right. The Herald newspaper has some interesting, stories on its front page. It says government crafted Western Togoland rogues pop up again in election year. Ghana Armed Forces in word game over Boku murders. Finance Minister praises himself over IMF $600 million bailout. Professor Godfrey Bobbin says excessive taxation is state-sponsored robbery. And MPP MP scared of losing January 27 primaries.
The new publisher says alleged disrespect to Otumfo Wontumi wanted at Mensha today. MPP leaders ran to Kumasi. Also, we are retaining ESLA for 2024 at Blekuma West NPP. And Obinim, again, I lied, I can turn into snakes and lions. And if you go to the Anchor newspaper, the Central Regional House of Chiefs, they have been quoted here as approving a Woya lithium project after engagement with Deputy Lance Minister. Also, gunmen attack bus carrying trainee nurses. Oh, this is unacceptable. Mohammed's honeymoon period saga, Razak Opoku is writing on it. And the GES is making a U-turn on lesson notes 3 years after sacking teacher.
Oh, Charlie.
All right, the BNFT finally from me on the IMF program is also here. In other stories, though, government pushes for more Chinese business presence. Conversion of COVID levy to health fund gathers momentum, and Jospon signs $1 billion carbon credit financing deal with EKI Energy.
A few quick headlines online. A Woya project, Piedmont Lithium to sell portion of its Atlantic shares to another firm. That's a new development that has come through this morning on citinewsroom.com.
Also, of us already.
Well, I will give you the details. Replacing PTS with PAs is unnecessary. This is Clement Park, Deputy Ranking Member on Education. Also, Ododio NDC parliamentary primary, we have a new candidate, Alfred Kote Ashi, elected NDC parliamentary candidate. And then Esla says next parliament will suffer if experienced MPs are not retained. And then other stories, armed forces denies role in Boku deaths, wants residents against engaging soldiers. If you go to my journal online, they did with AFCON 2023. We know what to do against Mozambique, says Chris Huting. Also, approving SDA's change of election date petition would open the floodgates. This is Professor Jampo. Other stories, I'm running for president because no government has addressed economic challenges. This is Sam Ankra. And nearly 90 dead after fierce winter storms strike US. Yeah, if you go on Class FM, they are leading with a story to do with just a second. Kote Ashi wins NDC Ododio race. Boku killings. Mahama says it's disturbing, urges army police collaboration to keep the peace. And then governor says banking sector is robust, liquid, and profitable. Daniel Amate is urging colleagues to be more focused in the games. Internationally, everybody is talking about Ron DeSantis. He's ended his 2024 campaign, endorses Trump over Nikki Haley. So now it's looking like Trump.
Yeah, it's always been Trump.
Unless the court, we don't know what the courts will do, but he's basically in the pole position to win.
Think that it is
to win. BBC leads with that as well. It says DeSantis quits presidential race and backs Trump. That's the Florida governor. And there's a very interesting analysis here how the Red Sea crisis is rerouting global trade. I'm sure you know that the conflict in the Middle East has affected the Suez Canal, and global trade is affected very seriously.
Logistics supplies.
Yes. So those are some of the stories making the rounds. Let's get into the details.
Okay, I think we can start off with the IMF since you mentioned trade and economy. Now, the front page of the Daily Graphic says IMF second $600 million tranche release. IMF reposes trust in economy. Now, the IMF is optimistic that Ghana will stay within the program targets and the 2024 budget, in spite of the spending pressures that characterize election years in the country. The fund said it had engaged the government, which had demonstrated a strong commitment to expenditure performance, into brackets, spending strictly according to budget in 2024. Speaking at a joint news conference by the Ministry of Finance and the IMF on the approval of the first review of Ghana's 3-year extended credit facility program, Stefan Rude, who's the IMF's mission chief to Ghana, said, quote, "We have ratings under the program in terms of spending, which have been codified in the budget that was approved by the parliament. We have targets under the program, and performance so far has been good. We have very strong commitments that the authorities will continue to follow the program objectives, and that makes us optimistic." End quote.
Well, you know, when you go around the city of Accra and many other parts of the country, you see stalled projects all over the place.
Yes.
Well, we're told that because of the fact that we don't have so much money, that's how come many of these projects have stalled. But the good news in the Chronicle for this morning is that the IMF second tranche release is going to ensure that these stalled projects take off. So if you go to page 7 of the Chronicle, you get details of an article written by the Minister Deputy for Finance, John Kuma.
There's also an interesting article by Bright Simmons on why is Ghana's feel-good IMF story not vibing at home.
Okay.
And it basically looks at the sort of the differences between what the IMF and Co are saying about the economy and what people are feeling in their pockets, and that discrepancy.
In the meantime, though, we are told by the governor of the central bank that the bank would deliver its mandate on financial stability. And Jennifer Ambule writes that story on page 7 of the Chronicle and says the governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Ernest Addison, has promised his outfit's desire to deliver its mandate on price and financial stability. Now, the governor made this known at a joint press conference by Ghana and the International Monetary Fund on the completion of the first review of the extended credit facility.
The other story that's made the rounds is the Queen Mothers endorsing the Ewoya lease. I just have an update on that. So
the Chiefs. Okay, so let me take you
the
to
Chiefs,
that.
I should say.
So it's the Central Regional House of Chiefs. Page 2 of the Anchor newspaper has that story. It says the Central Regional House of Chiefs approves a Woya Lithium project. Now, the report says that the Central Regional House of Chiefs has declared its overwhelming endorsement and support for the Woya Lithium project, describing it as a major milestone in the harnessing of Ghana's mineral resources and an opportunity for unprecedented development in the region. Now, the resounding approval by the revered chiefs gives the project the green light for its commencement for the benefit of the country as well as the locals. But there are issues with the project.
Quick update on this.
Those questions must be answered.
Piedmont Lithium to sell portion of its Atlantic shares to another firm. This is a story that has been on Citi Newsroom this morning. US-based Piedmont Lithium has announced it will sell a portion of its shares it holds in AIM and ASX listed Atlantic Lithium to Atlantic's biggest shareholder, Azure International. Now, this NASDAQ and ASX listed company will sell 24.3 million shares of Atlantic at 0.25 pounds a piece, putting about $7.8 million in its coffers. Now, the sale represents about 3.8% of Atlantic's outstanding shares and will reduce Piedmont's shareholding in the owner of Ewoya project in Ghana to about 5.2%. The sale of these shares, we are told, has no impact on Piedmont's joint venture and in or off-take position with Atlantic or the Ewoya project. But it's something that people need to be aware of. And that story came in this morning. Now let's come to you, Nathan, Daily Guide.
Well, the Daily Guide's third page has the education minister there. Now, he has been officially announced as the NPP's parliamentary candidate for the Busumche constituency in the upcoming elections. Dr. Edichum was the only candidate that filed to run in the party's primary in the constituency, and he was acclaimed during a special delegates meeting held in the constituency over the weekend. More than 1,000 delegates took part in the exercise, which was supervised by the district director of the Electoral Commission and observed by the Ashanti Regional Secretary of the NPP, Adom Apia.
Now, government has procured 12 modern rails or trains.
Yes.
That will come from Poland. Just give me the headlines, the highlights in the Daily Guide.
Yes, well, like you said, an official of the Polish railway company charged with the task of producing the engine, Rynek Kolejowy, broke the news and said the modern railways were expected in mid-February. Now, he said, quote, they are due to reach Ghana by mid-February, adding that they were already en route. He disclosed that the Ghana Railways Company ordered the modern engines from Bidogosh to operate both regional and long-distance lines. The order was first confirmed in September last year. So those are some interesting details.
Anyway, so let's return to some economic sector issues related to governance, because we're told that Kokotaku Ken is not moving anywhere. That is the Inquisitor making that claim on the front page. Details on page 4. And if you go to the very relevant paragraphs of the story, somewhere from the middle, the story says the biggest agenda to get Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta was to force the president to reshuffle his ministers immediately after the November 4, 2023 presidential primary elections of the New Patriotic Party to have a flag bearer. And that reshuffle was targeted at the finance minister. Now, it was planned in a way that the other members of the Achim gang moved out of Ghana to pave the way for the president to reshuffle. But Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta, known among his kinsmen as the Nayal, was ahead of those who plotted his exit from government. Now, the Inquisitor is reliably informed that the finance minister rather hinted the president of his resignation, and that ruffled feathers within the Achim gang, forcing the president to rescind his reshuffle decision. And it goes on to provide further details that the plot to get Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta out has become a subject of huge controversy among the Achim gang, with some of them expressing their anger in various.
Now, let's talk about the anger over taxation. GNA has a story that the imposition of VAT on electricity will increase cost of living. The story is by Zainab Abdul Hamid, and it says basically that the imposition of the VAT on electricity consumption will increase the cost of doing business and ultimately the cost of living. Some residents of Tema have noted. Responding to the announcement, residents in Tema told the GNA that the VAT implementation would only add to the already high cost of living, as they would spend more on purchasing the same units of power. Madam Vida Mensah, a trader of Community One Market, said even though it would affect her pocket, the government has already enacted the law and implementing it, and that she has no choice but to comply. Other people were interviewed who said similar things. Now, if you go to the Herald page 8, it says excessive taxation is state-sponsored robbery. Professor Godfrey Boppin is quoted here. A Ghanaian economist and finance professional or professor has stated that the government's incessant imposition of taxes is a lazy approach to raising revenue, essentially leaving citizens financially repressed. Professor Boppin strongly criticized the government's approach to solving or mobilizing revenue through excessive taxation, labeling it as state-sponsored robbery. He was speaking on Newsfire. He said it should not be accepted. I think in Ghana we have allowed too many wrongs in the country. And he says while generating revenue is essential, the government's current strategy is a lazy approach that negatively affects households and hampers the competitiveness of the private sector.
Okay, so let's do some politics this morning. I take you to the Ghanaian Publisher, which has a story on who should be running mate for the various political parties. Now, page 3 of the paper says, Queen Mothers endorse female running mates. Now, Queen Mothers of Akuapem in the Eastern region have joined calls for all political parties to prioritize the nomination of female candidates as flag bearers, running mates, and members of parliament in the 2024 elections. Now, recognizing the inherent capabilities of women to contribute positively to societal development, the Queen Mothers highlighted iconic female leaders such as Margaret Thatcher, Angela Merkel, and Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, underscoring their exceptional leadership. Now, they affirmed that women are more than capable as agents of positive change.
Do they have any specific names?
Well, in this story, a number of names have been mentioned. So you have, for instance, females within the MPP, there are females within the NDC. So NDC, you have Jane Nana Opoku Ajiman, who previously had a running mate. But if you go to the MPP side, we have Akosia Frema Ose Opare, who is the chief of staff. Then you also have 53-year-old lawyer Irene Natoshi Adolamte, currently the administrator of the District Assembly Common Fund. Then you also have somebody like Esla Owusu, who is the 59-year-old member of parliament for the Ablekuma West constituency.
Who herself has been endorsed by her delegates. All right, let's end with the Ghana-China matter in the BNFT before we do some speech sports. Quickly.
Yes, page 2. And the government is making a concerted effort to enhance its appeal as a preferred base for Chinese businesses on the continent. That's according to the finance minister. Now, he made this known during an engagement with the Chinese business community in Ghana under the Ghana Mutual Prosperity Partnership held in Accra. And he said, quote, "We want to use this platform to tease out the problems you face, equip you for the challenges of the future, and increase Ghana's attractiveness as a base for Chinese businesses on the continent." The finance minister highlighted Ghana's economic recovery, stable exchange rate, and softening interest rates as positive factors for businesses looking to export to China.
A few headlines. We need to avoid mistakes against Mozambique. Dennis Odoi, this is Citi Sports Online.
In the name of Jesus.
And then the signs are good with Majid Ashimero, Chris Euting. So one of our midfield prospects, we are told, will be ready to play. And Samini boosts morale in the Black Stars camp in Abidjan. All of those coming up in Citi Sports. But the Black Stars right back, Dennis Odoi says the team should avoid errors in their final group B game against the Mambas of Mozambique at the Stade Alassane Olympique Ouattara on Monday today at 8
He himself should be alert during the game. When they lay passes to him, he should not be galley. He should run and take the back passes when they lay to him.
This review was brought to us by Total. The wait is over tonight.